It's Friday, September 26th. This is CTV at 6. Here's what's making news tonight. The days of mail carriers coming to your door are over, and workers walk out. The world's best paddlers will be racing towards Lake Banook.
A sunny Saturday for the Maritimes, some cloud returning for Sunday, mild temperatures for late September.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Todd Battis.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us on this Friday. You did not get mail today. Canada Post workers are on the picket line, a reaction to Ottawa's announcement that the corporation has to cut spending and end services like door-to-door delivery. CTV's Nick Moore reports.
The Canadian Union of Postal Workers are off the job for a second time this year, including here in Fredericton, during a critical moment for the future of Canada Post.
And we know that changes have to be made. We just want to make sure that we're getting a fair contract.
What do we want? Contract!
Picket lines began on Thursday evening, just a few hours after the federal government announced reforms that would end a moratorium on the closure of post offices in rural communities, as well as an end to the moratorium that prevented any further conversion of community mailboxes.
These measures will help stabilize Canada Post's financial situation by generating close to $500 million per year.
The announcement yesterday talked about a lot of cuts. These are all changes that are going to be affecting the vulnerable populations.
Long-term concerns about the future of Canada Post are running alongside short-term worries about the strike.
When we look at the job action that happened last year, it costed small businesses collectively around $1 billion. As well, when we look at lack of demand becoming an issue from consumers, holding off and waiting until the strike is over, that does mean that a delay in economic activity that small businesses need.
I think that it gets people used to not having it and looking at alternatives. And these days we have other alternatives.
Dan Shaw is the Faculty of Management's director at Dalhousie University and says between the labor action and pending reforms, there's no way the Crown Corporation will ever look the same.
Well, we're going to see a huge amount of change over the next couple of years, and it's not easy. But you've got a lot of people who work there for a long time who care greatly about the organization, but it's just not going to make sense for taxpayers to be spending the kind of money that we've been spending.
For now, government financial assistance checks will continue to be delivered. Otherwise, Canada Post is not delivering nor accepting any new mail. Nick Moore, CTV News, Fredericton.
A 15-year-old boy is dead following a crash in Saint-André, New Brunswick last evening. It happened around 6:30 on Saint-André Road. The teen was riding his bicycle when it collided with a motorcycle. Both were traveling in the same direction. The boy died at the scene. The 50-year-old motorcycle driver is in hospital with life-threatening injuries. The investigation in this case is ongoing tonight. Rain covered most of the Maritimes overnight and into the morning. Was it enough for farmers or to end mandatory water restrictions? CTV's Vanessa Wright looks into that.
Thursday night showers came down throughout the Maritimes, and on Friday a bit more. Any amount of rain is welcomed by farmers experiencing a dry season.
It did affect me. I know I feel fortunate that it probably affected other farmers more than me. There still will be some financial implications, but I guess we got showers that other people didn't get.
Michaud says the rain won't help much with this year's harvest, but
it's certainly going to help next year's crop of strawberries.
The battle isn't quite over for people living in West Hants Regional Municipality, where a weeks-long mandatory water restriction order remains in place.
Unprecedented for us. We've never seen these types of droughts in the past for quite some time.
Richard says the recent rain has done little to help.
We did see from that rain last night an increase in 1 centimeter of lake service increase throughout that period. So it's any rain is certainly welcome, but certainly not the amount that we need to bring us out of this drought conditions.
Meanwhile, Halifax Water now says they've seen an 8% drop in consumption since asking people living in the Halifax area to conserve water. Jeff Myrick says it's too early to know how much of an impact the rain will have.
It will take a lot more rain than what we've had overnight to actually get our lakes back to a healthy level. And we expect that'll happen over the fall, but it hasn't panned out just yet.
Well, this morning's rain has moved out. There is gratitude for the rain that we did get, transparency that it just wasn't enough, and above all, hope that more is on the way. Todd?
Okay, I think that's the hope of a lot of people. Thank you, Vanessa Wright in Halifax. There is a live look at Uptown St. John, 5 minutes after 6 o'clock, 22 degrees under blue skies. That Kayla Mitchell, that rain that came overnight into the morning made things very muggy throughout the rest of the day.
Oh boy, did it ever. We actually had humidex values this afternoon in the parts of the Maritimes that were making it feel up into the high 20s and low 30s. Well, on the topic of that rain, though, I thought we could take a look. So this was a fairly widespread 10 to 20 millimeter rainfall event across much of the Maritime region, with some exceptions. Once again, and this has been the case with the wet weather that we have seen, the Annapolis Valley ended up shorted a little bit, with amounts there mostly reported around several millimeters, in some cases up to around the 10, 11 millimeter mark. It also looked a little bit drier through parts of Cumberland and Colchester counties in the north of Nova Scotia and parts of the North Shore of that province. Where the most rain came down was right around central and southern areas of New Brunswick. That's where the most widespread amounts between around 30 and just above 40 millimeters showed up. Again, it'd be great to get like 2 weather systems like this a week over the next several weeks. This one on its own, as we just heard from Vanessa, not going to be enough to really change or move the needle too much on the dry conditions in the region. Taking a look at things on radar and satellite for the upcoming weekend. Again, not a lot of precipitation in the forecast. An area of high pressure moves in from the west. We're going to continue to see a clearing sky for tonight. That does, however, make for some great night sky viewing conditions. So waxing crescent moon, 20% illuminated. It'll be setting on the southwestern horizon just after sunset. If you're up early in the morning hours for tomorrow and you look towards the eastern horizon, this is before sunrise, you can spot Venus in the constellation Leo. There will be a 3-minute pass from the International Space Station this evening, happening at around 9:08 p.m. That starts low in the west and will disappear off in the southwest. When I come back, Todd, we'll take a look at national weather conditions and an update on Hurricane Umberto.
All right, a little later in the show. We'll see you then. Well, we certainly need rain. What we don't need and have been fortunate to avoid so far this season are hurricanes. And while there's activity in the Atlantic, it hasn't lived up to expectations. CTV's Emma Convey looks at why.
A warm and windy day at the wharf in Eastern Passage brought to mind the feeling of a tropical storm. But so far this season, there's been no big weather.
Yeah, so far it's been, very quiet hurricane season-wise, especially here in Canada.
Hurricane season in the Maritimes typically gets going in September. Historically, the strongest storms to hit Nova Scotia. Fiona 3 years ago, Dorian before that, and Juan in 2003, all arrived in September.
What will make an active hurricane season is when these atmospheric winds are, more favorable to allow the storms to develop. And so we're not seeing that so much this year, but we very much anticipate things to increase here over the next few weeks.
For fishermen, the weather has been on their side.
This is probably one of the best years for a lack of activity. There's just nothing.
Calm waters makes the job easier and safer.
We don't have to worry about, lashing boats down and putting stuff away and things like this. So again, we still get a huge time frame. Usually, I think the official hurricane season ends on December the 1st. But if you can get into late October, usually it's pretty safe.
CTV News Atlantic meteorologist Kaylin Mitchell says the only storm in the Atlantic is Umberto, with no sign yet that it is a risk or hazard to us, but certainly worth watching.
What we do throughout the year is just maintain our ongoing training, and we'll do various exercises. And even though an exercise may not be hurricane related, just exercise for an emergency, it gets us planning and thinking of that concept.
There could be a downside to an absence of hurricanes. It could result in more severe storms this winter. Emma Convey, CTV News, Eastern Passage, Nova Scotia.
If you're a parent, you know how hard it is to get children away from screens. It turns out young people in New Brunswick are spending more and more time on devices in their free time. As CTV's Laura Brown tells us, experts say we need to dial it back.
For these Fredericton area students, screen time begins in the classroom. Our teachers give us work in every period, and we're on our computers, so that's already 5 hours a day pretty much.
And once school is out and the homework is finished, they decompress on social media.
Probably like 2 hours in the evenings.
Probably like 3 hours, like 2-3 hours like after school.
Maybe like 3 hours after. Probably at least 2 hours after of screen time.
That tracks with what the New Brunswick Health Council found in its latest survey. Of the 46,000 youth surveyed in grades 6 to 12, 87.7% said they were using screens recreationally for over 2 hours every day. That includes social media, video games, or watching TV or movies. Not at all surprising to pediatrician Dr. Michelle Ponte, but there is a difference between screen time and screen use, she says.
Was it an educational, purposeful, fun, social use of screens, or was it something a little bit more potentially risky, you know, getting into not so nice content or having some, you know, difficult social interactions without support?
Public health nurse Cynthia Ferguson agrees.
It can have effects on sleep, vision, mental health, and on overall development in small children. It's not to ban, but it's to have a balance. So how can we live with the technology and how we can live without it?
Ferguson recommends no screen time at all for those under 2, between 2 and 5, an hour or less, and 6 years and older, 2 hours max. Is that realistic? These teens aren't so sure.
Yeah. And I think it's just such a basic thing that you do every day. It's kind of your day-to-day thing, and it's hard to get, like, stopped.
And when is the right time to allow your child a smartphone? Wait as long as possible, says Dr. Ponte, at least until the end of grade 8.
So that kids can start having their own autonomy and independence and maturity by high school.
Laura Brown, CTV News, Fredericton.
This is our web poll tonight. How do you feel about a guideline that youth spend less than 2 hours on screens? Your options are: I agree with it, screen time should be limited; I disagree with it, it's unreasonable; or I think it's a good guideline, but I'm not sure it's realistic. We'd like to hear from you at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. His family has pleaded to police to treat their 48-year-old son's disappearance as more than a missing persons case. Now, a year later, the Major Crime Unit is investigating. CTV's Josh Smith spoke with a relative.
There's renewed hope for the family of 48-year-old David Alexander Mitchell, who went missing over a year ago. The RCMP's Major Crime Unit takes over the stalled investigation.
It's been a very, very difficult, heartbreaking, frustrating year. But today I have hope.
Police are saying very little about the investigation, other than it's been underway for nearly a month. In an email today, New Brunswick RCMP told CTV News they're reassessing all available evidence and actively following up on any new leads, tips, or information. Mitchell disappeared September 9th of last year. His phone and bank card have not been used since his disappearance. The missing man's mother can only speculate on law enforcement's new direction.
I don't know if they know something we don't. I have no idea. I've wanted major crime for a long time. I fought for major crime. I've been very vocal.
Over the past year, Kathy Mitchell-Cooper says RCMP have been in regular contact over her missing son, and she credits the community for helping them through difficult times.
The community has never let me down. They message me to check on me. They've participated in protests, a few protests. They call me. They give me the strength. They give me the hope.
The RCMP have been tight-lipped about their next steps, but Cooper says she won't stop searching until her son is found.
I will fight for my son. I'm one of those mama bears that plans on keep on going. I'm never going to give up.
Josh Smith, CTV News, Sussex, New Brunswick.
Online, a Fredericton man was charged with assaulting 2 New Brunswick RCMP officers with a weapon. We have details in a report at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. Wind West has been backed by Ottawa as a major project for federal spending. Nova Scotia is counting on it to create jobs, grow the economy, and export green energy. But opposition leaders argue too much power will leave the province. CTV's Jesse Thomas reports from Province House.
The province's energy minister says Nova Scotia is on track to get off coal-fired power by 2030, and wind power will be a key in that energy transition.
We have the potential for more than 60 gigawatts of clean energy from this natural resource.
Much of that wind energy generated off the coast of Nova Scotia is slated for export, part of a nation-building project known as Wind West that'll help Canada transition off fossil fuels. Shipping wind power through a $700 million transmission cable connection with New Brunswick, connecting to the rest of North America, Boudreau says developers are chomping at the bit.
And it's going to attract billions of dollars of investment to Nova Scotia to create thousands of jobs for Nova Scotians.
The export of power is raising concerns among opposition at Province House.
It seems ludicrous that we would build out infrastructure and not allow Nova Scotians to take advantage of that.
Power rates and affordability are expected to be a major focus of debate during the fall legislative session. Opposition say Nova Scotian ratepayers deserve direct benefit from any offshore wind energy development.
We are in a moment right now where 64% of Nova Scotians say they don't see a bright financial future for themselves.
The thing is that Nova Scotians need to directly benefit from any new infrastructure when it comes to offshore or onshore wind.
The province did introduce new legislation today that allows the energy minister to negotiate purchase agreements with developers of offshore wind to be sold to Nova Scotia Power for use here. But Boudreau emphasized onshore wind capacity and solar energy that's coming on board will meet the province's energy needs. Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Halifax.
Get the Maritimes top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
The world's best paddlers will be sliding through the waters of Lake Banook as a major canoeing event comes to Dartmouth. The International Canoe Federation announced the event today, and our Jonathan McGuinness was there.
Lake Banook is relatively quiet today, a far cry from next summer when the International Canoe Federation Junior and U23 World Championships and the Masters Canoe Sprint World Championships will be churning up the water.
Nothing compares to it. I don't think any other Worlds or U23s or any other competition I've been to has compared to racing what it's been like on Lake Banook.
1,800 athletes from 60 countries will converge on the facility starting June 25th.
I want to give it everything I got to be nominated to the team and be able to race here.
17-year-old sprint kayaker Tate Levy remembers the inspiration he drew from watching the same championships on Lake Banook back in 2022. That event encouraged him to set the goal to one day compete in the championships in his hometown.
That's what drives you. I want to be in the race, in the field. I want to hear the crowd cheering.
Nova Scotian athletes should make up a significant portion of Team Canada. The province won 33 of 36 canoe kayak medals at the most recent Canada Games.
I would say that paddling in this region is like hockey in most regions. I think it's second only to hockey, really. This is such a wonderful, wonderful venue, and it's within the culture, within the blood of the community.
With the nearly 2,000 participants also comes an expected economic spin-off of over $11 million. That is immediate. The president of Discover Halifax says there's also long-term benefits to hosting large-scale international events.
We have people come back many times either for a visit, or we have people that come back to stay and live.
And Todd, the juniors and the masters events will be held on back-to-back weekends at the end of June and the first week of July. And Todd, we should also mention Sail GP will be returning June 20th and 21st. That means there's going to be a lot of racing, Todd, between Halifax Harbor and the waters here of Lake Banook next summer.
And we know you'll be there for all of it. Thank you, John, at Lake Banook tonight. Time for our first break on this Friday. Still to come, a clearing sky for the Maritimes tonight. Kayla Mitchell has the details and the full forecast. First, though, the Prime Minister is working the room in the UK for trade and security deals. His principal secretary, Nova Scotia MP Cody Blois, joins us next. Welcome back. The Prime Minister is in the UK meeting with leaders of progressive countries, hoping to strike deals, strengthen ties with our friends. Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister and MP for Kings Hants, Cody Blois, recently returned from China, meeting with officials about things like tariff and trade. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Todd.
Welcome to the studio. We'll get to that in a minute. We ran a story in the newscast about Canada Post. It's sort of the conversation of the day. So I want to ask you, you're primarily a rural riding. One of the things that's being talked about quite a bit is the potential of losing rural post offices.
Yeah.
And just how vital they are in communities.
So just quickly on this, Canada Post has lost almost $5 billion in the last 7 years. So the announcement that the government made yesterday was actually really about saving Canada Post. We know that Canadians value the service that the post office offers, but we also have to make sure it's fit for purpose. And we could get into letter mail and the changes that have happened over time. But what Minister Lightbound announced yesterday was actually directives around the governance of Canada Post. This is not about removing rural post offices across the country. Some of this dates back to 30 years where communities that are demonstrably suburban, Scarborough, Markham, they are no longer rural in any definition and allowing a little bit more flexibility.
Do you see a loss of post offices in King's hands? Right.
There very well could be, but those are decisions that are going to be had between management. Part of what we've planned is actually management to come back with a comprehensive plan about some of these flexibilities. But we need to make sure we protect the service, Todd, and we've got to make sure that we can ensure that we can get post to rural communities, to northern communities. If we didn't make these changes, it's just not financially sustainable over time.
Let's talk about trade. I mentioned you just got back from China. You were with the Premier of Saskatchewan, Mo, very concerned about those tariffs on canola. Down here, it's primarily seafood, some pork that has a heavy tariff on it, largely because of the EVs. There's some talk about rolling back that 100% tariff on EVs. What was that meeting like? Do you expect that there will be some movement on removing those tariffs against Canada?
So let's just take a step back here. I mean, step number one, we started this conversation by saying the Prime Minister is in the United Kingdom. He's been spending a lot of time internationally building up relationships. It was a privilege to be able to join Premier Mo on behalf of the Government of Canada, working alongside our ministers. I found the conversations in China were positive. Chinese authorities were willing to engage in these conversations because rightfully so, the relationship has not been in a great place over the last number of years. Our Prime Minister is looking to have a pragmatic and constructive pathway forward with a number of countries where, Todd, we may not agree with a whole host of issues, but we're going to focus on the areas where we can constructively work forward. So we're not in those conversations yet about where this may go, but there's a clear pathway for more dialogue.
So you mentioned the Prime Minister in the UK meeting with partners. Those partners, UK, Europe, others, have inked deals with the United States. And now we're trying to increase our trade with them. But they have that deal with the U.S. We don't. We haven't heard anything for quite some time. Where does the conversation stand with the United States?
I would disagree. We have...
Well, we haven't heard anything.
Well, we have the best deal. It's the USMCA, CUSMA. It is the deal that...
but we also have sectoral tariffs of 50% against lumber, against steel, against aluminum. But we haven't heard anything about where talks are with the United States. Can you tell us where they stand? Of course.
So Minister LeBlanc obviously is handling that file alongside Kirsten Hillman, our ambassador in Washington. Those conversations are ongoing. The United States has put out a number of sectoral tariffs, sectoral tariffs, I should say, Todd, in relation, and we know that that's having a big impact, particularly in certain industries here in Canada. Again, Canada's effective tariff rate is still the best in the world. We are going into a review of the overall continental agreement heading into 2026. We're going to continue to make the case to the U.S. administration that we need to be able to work on those sectoral tariffs, that we know the U.S. administration feels these are important for their economy, but because of the integrated nature of the continental economy, we need to be able to have movement. So we're engaging on those issues.
You've been to China. The Prime Minister was recently in Mexico. He's now again overseas. A lot of talk with our partners. No deals coming back. Nothing in hand to show Canadians. Should we be concerned about that?
We need to make sure we're having those engagements. I would say the Prime Minister has come back, for example, in Europe with an agreement to be able to work with their defense procurement strategy. The Prime Minister was just at UNGA, one of the most desired world leaders because of his acumen, not only in the business community, but world leaders want to meet with the Prime Minister because of the way that he is positioning Canada, I think, as a pragmatic, moderate power that is able to engage with major powers like China, the United States, but also countries around the world. We believe in multilateralism. So there is benefits coming from all of these types of agreements. I expect that there'll be further engagement with China in the days ahead as the Prime Minister with his bilateral meeting with Premier Lee in New York.
Okay. Cody Blix, thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Todd.
Appreciate it. That's the MP for King's Hants. We'll take a time out. We'll be right back. Our team in Cape Breton ran outside, grabbed these shots in a break in the weather in Sydney, this Washbrook in the Open Hearth Park. And, well, the heavy rain came down there, too.
Yeah, Washbrook getting a little bit of a wash. I think last time I checked in, the Sydney area was sitting up between the 10 and 20 millimeter mark, which is where a lot of parts of the Maritimes ended up at that rate.
The jackpot winner, though, seemed to be St. John.
Yeah, St. John, and actually moving up even towards Fredericton. There were some reports around the Fredericton area, pretty close to 40 millimeters of rain. Yeah, that's sort of central and southwestern area of New Brunswick, so the most widespread 30 to 40 millimeters. We want more rain, but we would like it not to come in the form of a hurricane. So let's bring you an update on the hurricane that we have going on right now in the Atlantic. This is Hurricane Umberto. It is now a major Category 3 hurricane. Maximum sustained winds near 185 kilometers per hour. It continues up towards the northwest at around 8 kilometers per hour. The forecast track for the system over the next couple of days will continue to take it towards the northwest before making a northward turn and then an eastward movement, kind of boomerang right around Bermuda. And then after that, most long-range indications indicate that it will continue moving off towards the east, so back out towards the Atlantic, and not at this time expected to be an imminent risk to bring severe weather here to the Maritimes. Now, because of the position of the storm, the fact that it's still strengthening, and that there has been in the past, in the long-range forecast for these weather systems, some pretty significant changes with them. This one is certainly worth monitoring over the coming days. All right, let's take a look at weather conditions across the country. We've got 16 degrees at Vancouver right now, raining at Prince George, sitting at 8 in the prairies. It's mostly high teens, low 20s. Up north, 8 degrees at Whitehorse, 13 at Yellowknife, and 7 in cloudy conditions at Iqaluit. In southern Ontario right now, it's warmer around Windsor, sitting at 26, 19 at Ottawa, and 20 at Montreal, 23 degrees at Fredericton, 22 at Halifax and Charlottetown at this time, and then St. John's sitting at 16 degrees and reporting some rain. Taking a look at our timeline for cloud cover and precipitation, we'll continue to see some clearing as we move through tonight, though some fog patches certainly possible. Start of the day for tomorrow, we'll see any fog around the Maritimes dissipating with high pressure in place for Saturday. It is going to be sunny. Generally clear conditions expected into Saturday evening. There'll be some increasing cloudiness Saturday night into early Sunday morning. Winds in the forecast for tomorrow become a bit more northwesterly. They'll be breezy. There'll be some gusts between 20 and 40 kilometers per hour. Low temperatures tonight in the Maritimes for most of New Brunswick, falling into a range around 5 to 10 degrees, down to 12 for Grand Manan. Most of Prince Edward Island for tonight with low temperatures near 12. Many areas in Nova Scotia tonight with low temperatures between 12 and 15 degrees. So a few parts of the coastline could see some lows as mild as around 16 or 17. Highs in the forecast for tomorrow across northern areas of New Brunswick between 15 and 19 degrees. It'll be a sunny and breezy day, as it will be through central and southern areas of New Brunswick. Most of the highs between 18 and 21 degrees. Prince Edward Island for tomorrow. Pretty pleasant Saturday coming up. Lots of sunshine, high temperatures around 16, 17 degrees, and that northwest wind that'll be 20 with some gusts up between 20 and 40 kilometers per hour. In Cape Breton for tomorrow, high temperatures of 16 to 18 degrees, lots of sunshine around the north shore and eastern shore of Nova Scotia. Many communities can expect high temperatures right around the high teens. 19 for Amherst for tomorrow, 20 for Truro, 21 for the city centers Halifax and Dartmouth, near 20 for Chester and Lunenburg. Continuing down the south shore of Nova Scotia, 22 for Liverpool and Shelburne, 19 for Yarmouth, the Annapolis Valley for tomorrow, with high temperatures in the low 20s, 19 at Digby. In the 7-day outlook for New Brunswick, coming up at the end of the weekend on Sunday, temperatures mild to warm for late September. That carries on into Monday of next week. Monday looking mostly sunny, as is Tuesday, which is National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. Cooler temperatures expected on Wednesday, and then a mix of sun and cloud follows for Thursday and Friday of next week. High temperatures look like they'll be around the mid to high teens. For Nova Scotia in the outlook, geez, not a lot of rain there, is there? Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud, maybe a low chance of spotty showers, like 20-30% chance. Mild on Monday, mostly sunny on Tuesday, cooler on Wednesday of next week, and then a mix of sun and cloud for Thursday and Friday. And for Prince Edward Island in the forecast, coming up on Sunday, mix of sun and cloud, highs near 20 degrees, low 20s in the forecast for Monday, lots of sunshine. Mostly sunny on Tuesday, temperatures cooling, so highs around the mid-teens, and then low teens on Wednesday with a chance of showers and a mix of sun and cloud for Thursday and Friday, Todd.
Well, heck of a weekend, though.
Mm-hmm, sure is.
All right, we'll see you later in the show. Next, CTV film critic Richard Krause has our weekend movie rundown, and a Maritime Oscar winner has a new film. That's on the scene.
Hi there, I'm Ben Proudfoot. I'm a director and producer, originally from Halifax, Nova Scotia. and I'm going to tell you all about my new feature-length documentary, The Eyes of Ghana, coming up after this.
Okay, so have a great weekend, and remember to join us Monday for another chance to win $5,000 with Virgin Radio's 5K a day.
Get keywords starting with us at 7 a.m.
And we'll have your shot at Tides tickets. Good luck.
Welcome back. We've got CTV film critic Richard Krause with us this evening. And if the setting looks different, it's because, well, Richard, you're a little closer to us this evening.
I am. I'm in my hometown visiting friends and family and paying homage to my first film school, Liverpool's great Astor Theatre. So happy to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. Thanks for taking some time. What hasn't changed is you've got a good rundown of interesting movies. We're going to jump right into it. Perhaps Hollywood's biggest name, Leonardo DiCaprio, is back with One Battle After Another. Here we go.
This is Bob Ferguson. I was a part of the French 75. Steve Lockjaw just attacked my home, and I cannot remember for the life of my only child the answer to your question.
Boy, is this getting a lot of buzz.
And deservedly so. This will be on my best movies of the year list, I'm pretty sure. Look for it at Oscar time next year when all that stuff is announced. This is Leonardo DiCaprio, who, when we first meet him, is playing Bob. He's a revolutionary looking to free hundreds of detainees from the U.S.-Mexico border as part of a domestic terrorist group called the French 75. Cut to 16 years later, and things have changed a little bit for Bob. He's more like the dude from The Big Lebowski now than anything else. He's kind of stoned and drunk much of the time, but he's raising a 16-year-old daughter. When she is kidnapped, he has to spring into action to win her back. Now, that's the absolute most simple way that I can explain this movie to you. It's directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, and if you know his movies like Magnolia and Licorice Pizza and There Will Be Blood, it goes on and on and on, you'll find that he takes epic stories, epic situations, and makes them personal and makes them human. And that's what he's done here. So what starts off as a timely look at domestic terrorism turns into a timeless story of a father and daughter. So this is like a 4-star movie all day long called One Battle After Another in theaters right now.
It's a long one, like 3 hours or so, right? But his
does not feel like it.
Okay, good. All right.
Does not feel like
this one's you couldn't get more different than this next film. It's called The Baltimoreans. Here's a clip.
Stop that now.
Are you a dentist?
I am.
Do you need this?
Hang on to it, will you? The situation is that we use needles. Open your mouth.
What do you make of this?
I loved this movie. So I don't really know why it's being released now, because it is set on Christmas Eve, so it maybe should have waited till December. But it is the story of a failed improv comic who falls down. He chips his tooth on Christmas Eve. He can only find one dentist that's open in all of Baltimore. And when they first meet, they do not get along at all. But when his car is towed while she's working on his mouth, she says, you know what, I'll drive you to the car impound so you're not without your car for Christmas. And that sets them off on an adventure in Baltimore that makes up the bulk of the Baltimoreans. These are two outsiders, two underdogs who, over the course of one evening, get to know one another. They go on adventures, and eventually maybe something more will develop between the two of them. It's a lovely, sweet, funny movie that is absolutely as simple as One Battle After Another is complicated. This one is as simple, but they're both 4 out of 5-star movies for me, because this one effectively portrays what it wants to portray in just a lovely way. It feels like you're getting a hug when you go to the movie. It's called The Baltimoreans, and it's in theaters now.
Well, we could all use that. We've got a minute left, but I want to squeeze this in. This is The Eerie Strangers Chapter 2.
Come on, Sheriff. We all want to hear about who killed that young couple.
Why are you doing this to us?
Now, I missed Chapter 1. Will I be able to keep up?
Oh, and there's a few others before Chapter 1. There's not that much to keep up with.
No.
There are 3 masked killers. They randomly choose people to kill, and that's about it. I did not care for this movie. This movie ends with a to be continued sign and some scenes from Chapter 3 that play more like a warning than an advertisement for me. So it is a 1-star movie. They can't all be great, but The Strangers 2 is in theaters right now.
Well, you're always great, Richard Krause. Welcome home.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see you soon. We'll take a time out. We'll be right back. We're going to keep the movie theme going tonight on The Scene. 2-time Oscar-winning Halifax filmmaker Ben Proudfoot has a brand new documentary. As Katie Kelly shows us, The Eyes of Ghana tells the untold story of African liberation and has some very big names attached.
Ben Proudfoot's latest film is feature-length documentary The Eyes of Ghana.
About a man named Chris Hesse, who's a 93-year-old cinematographer. He's a fellow filmmaker from Accra in Ghana, who was Kwame Nkrumah's personal cameraman. And Kwame Nkrumah was the first president of Ghana, and he was a great leader of history who led the liberation movement on the African continent in the 1950s and 60s.
The doc reveals history that was almost erased.
In 1966, when Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown in a coup, they put all these films that told the whole story in a pile and burned them. And so it was thought that all those films were lost to history. But I met Chris a few years ago in Accra, and he told me that actually he had saved a copy in a vault in London.
What started as a chance encounter turned into a collaboration spanning generations and continents.
So I was in Accra making a film for UNICEF. This is summer 2021. And I was driving along, and there's a statue of Kwame Nkrumah. And I said, "Who's Kwame Nkrumah?" And I couldn't believe it, right? Like, here's this Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr. level revolutionary, and we just didn't learn about him in school. And I said, "Is there anyone still around who knew him?" And they said, "Yeah, his personal cinematographer is 90 years old and lives just down that road there." And I said, "Oh, let's go."
The result is a film that not only sheds light on forgotten history, but also preserves a fragile archive for the future.
So this is on 16 millimeter and 35 millimeter celluloid film. It's only by a miracle that they've survived. And there's like 1,300 reels of film.
The project even attracted executive producers Barack and Michelle Obama.
And, a very unique connection to this in particular, given Barack Obama Sr. was born in Kenya. And in fact, in one of the films that shows in the movie, Kwame Nkrumah is giving a speech, and there's a man next to him named Tom Mboya, who is a Kenyan liberation leader. And he mentored Barack Obama Sr.
Since premiering at TIFF, The Eyes of Ghana has been making its way around the festival circuit, including screenings at both the Atlantic and Lunenburg Film Festival.
The Atlantic Film Festival, Park Lane, that's where I grew up watching movies, was at Park Lane, so that was a trip. And then I tuned in via Zoom for the Lunenburg Doc Film Festival, and that was extraordinary.
The Eyes of Ghana will continue its festival run, with distribution details still to come.
Yeah, so you're going to get the story of the rise and fall of Kwame Nkrumah. And so you're going to meet a lot of characters that you'll fall in love with, and you're going to learn a lot about that part of history. And I think you'll be hopefully inspired and moved by the story.
With Crash and Sarah Betts.
Happy Friday. We're going to have another $20,000 winner for Move Stream Big next week.
And keep the winning streak going with Beat the Bank Monday at 7.
On the markets, the Dow closed the trading week on a positive note, up 300 points. More tariffs have been announced by Washington. BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez has more on that, along with the closing Canadian numbers.
Washington's imposing another round of tariffs, this time on pharmaceuticals and furniture. The U.S. president shared the news online, saying imported drugs would face a 100% duty starting October 1st. There will also be a 50% markup on imported cabinets and a 30% markup for upholstered furniture. Here's a look at how the trading day ended. The Canadian dollar hasn't changed much. It's at 71.75. West Texas Intermediate is up to 65.32. Western Canadian Select barely moved. It's at 53.15. And the TSX is up 29 points today to 29,761. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Kaylin on the weather deck. I know it feels like summer today, but we have some indications in your photo tonight that, yes, fall is very much with us.
Yeah, that is true. So let's go take a look at our viewer picture for tonight. And this is coming in at Doketown, New Brunswick. And parts of northern and central New Brunswick are typically one of the parts of the Maritimes that starts to head towards their peak for the fall colors earlier. We generally hit peak for fall colors here in the region, by the way, anytime between now and about mid-October, but colors certainly very present here. This is from Tracy Beal. It's coming in from Doketown, New Brunswick. I want to thank Tracy very much for taking the time to send that picture in. Tomorrow and around the Doketown area, fantastic day to maybe step out, take a little bit of walk, take a look at the leaves because it's going to be sunny and the high temperature is going to be 20 degrees and it won't be as muggy as it was today. In fact, out here on the weather deck already, I can feel that there's a little bit less humidity in the air. Taking a look at the day planner for tomorrow, start of the day, might be a few fog patches around, but those will be clearing up as we move from the morning into the afternoon. Speaking of Saturday afternoon, it is going to be sunny across the Maritime region. Winds will be out of the northwest. It'll be a little bit breezy with some gusts between 20 and 40 kilometers per hour. Most of the high temperatures tomorrow will be in the high teens and the low 20s. Let's find out what's coming up next week on Your Morning Atlantic.
Monday on Your Morning Atlantic, rising from the ashes.
We'll check in with the folks from New Brunswick's Covered Bridge Chips 1 year after a devastating fire and try their newest flavor.
Start your morning with us Monday on CTV 2.
Finally for us tonight, a bit of bragging on our part. CTV Atlantic won several RTDNA awards at a ceremony in Halifax last night. Now, the awards celebrate the best reporting in the Atlantic and northern regions of Canada. Your news team, we're happy to say, won several, including Overall Excellence in Digital Reporting, the Breaking News Award for coverage of the Cape Breton snowstorm last year, the Best TV Newscast, Best Live Special Event for our coverage of the New Brunswick provincial election, and Murphy's Logic won in the Best Opinion category. So congratulations to the team, and it is nice to be recognized by the industry, but of course our greatest reward is having you with us every night. So really the thanks goes to you. And that is our look at the day here at home. Another award winner, Bruce Frisco, given the Lifetime Achievement Award last night. He'll be here at 11:30. CTVNewsAtlantic.ca has our weekend reporting. We're going to leave you with scenes of Englishtown and Cape Breton. There we are, and the names of everyone who brings you your award-winning newscast each night. I'm Todd Battis. I hope to see you Monday at 6. Until then, have a good night.
CTV News, the Maritimes' #1 newscast.